Alrighty guys, bunch of brand new Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but I am indeed back. I took a small vacation and there's a bunch of new Yu-Gi-Oh cards that came out, so I'm going to be calling this like the mega Yu-Gi-Oh drop of checking out all the brand new cards to give you guys my thoughts on them. Alright, so we got like so many new like legacy support, which I'm excited about because, well, I'm kind of more of an OG Yu-Gi-Oh player. So starting right off, we have this card over here. This is this is a Blue Eyes card. It's called Magic Card Cross Soul or Spell. It's a spell card. It's just called Soul Exchange. Okay. So anyways, it is a normal spell card that says you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. The effect is immediately after this effect resolves, tribute summon one monster, and if you do, it cannot be tributed this turn. When you do, you can tribute monsters or monsters your opponent controls, even though you do not control. This card is sent from the field to the graveyard. Activate this effect, your opponent can apply this card's first effect. Wow. So your opponent can also use this. So definitely has some, double-edged sword technique on it. Obviously, the thing is that it can't be tributed this turn. So like, I guess it's so weird because it says if this card is sent to the field of graveyard, you can activate this effect. Your opponent can also apply this card's first effect. So I can't use it the first turn. But then, why would you ever activate this effect? That doesn't really make any sense. Yeah, I don't know. I guess if you just run something that would just banish it, whatever. At the end of the day, if you just get out like one of your boss monsters and your opponent doesn't even have something that they can contribute with, which is technically a thing, then I don't really see it being that much of a downside, but it's got some potential for it being kind of backfiring on you. All right, so next up says call forth a millennium's worth of sealed magic info. Okay, so this is Infinite Forbidden, which is pretty cool, at least on the artwork. And anyways, so this is on the pack cover. This is the new Exodia God card. All right, so this is a new fusion Exodia. What the heck is this thing? So this card is called the Phantom God Exodia Incarnate. All right, so it's a level 10 Dark Spellcaster fusion effect monster. Attack is question mark and its defense is 0. And it requires 5 Forbidden 1 monsters. Now, I'm actually kind of curious. What other cards count as the Forbidden One? So I don't know if it has to have it in, I'm guessing it has to have it in its name. So it's basically just Exodia. Some of these may have it in its name, but I guess it's just all the pieces. And then Ultimate Forbidden Lord, you got Incarnate. Necros probably doesn't count. But anyways, it does say monster, so you can't use any other support. Anyways, this card on the field cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Once per turn, if this card battles during damage calc, it gains attack equal to your current life points. So it starts off at 8,000. Then once per turn, when a spell trap or effect is activated, as a quick effect, you can negate the activation. Fourth effect is once per turn during the end phase, you get to set one Exodo spell trap or obliterate directly from your deck. Then the fifth part, once per turn during your standby phase, you lose 1,000 life points. So it is trying to be as quickly as possible. Now, obviously, you can fuse with it with lots of different ways. I'm thinking off the top of my head, if you guys remember Treasure Panda Exodia, this would allow you to get all of the Forbidden One monsters immediately and then poly or whatever the case may be for it. Unless there's other support cards that let's say act as a fusion, it might be kind of difficult to pull it off realistically, because you basically have like the chance to maybe like just one shot your opponent. If that's the case, then cool. But like the other Exodia thing, like I've got that thing over a 4,000 attack pretty consistently, and it doesn't have this huge downside and require you to have all the pieces to go for it. But at least it does negate at least once. Next up though, we have the Millennium Cross over here. So this is a normal spell that says take 5 Forbidden 1 monster cards from your hand, deck, and or face up in the field and reveal them. Spell summon one of the Phantom God Exodia Incarnate from your extra deck. Then shuffle all face up monsters you control into the deck except for Exodia monster cards whose original level is 10 or higher, and Millennium monster cards. Also, you cannot spell summon monster for the rest of the turn, but you can normal set after activation. Shuffle this card into the deck instead of sending it to the graveyard. Okay. So you have to take 5. If it let you like just dump any of them, I wonder if there's some sort of way where you could like dump them. Like you do lose out on all your monsters, but it doesn't really matter for the Exodia deck. I mean, just being able to get that card instantly does help out, because I was talking about, well, you have to have all 5, but at this point you can just slap it down real instantly, right? So it does require you obviously to play those Forbidden One monsters. So I don't think you can splash it in like random stuff. Anyways, these are some new, these are more Infinite Forbidden cards. Okay, so these ones over here, is that Sejuan? That's like, these are like really old school cards. Millennium Shield's getting another like print. All right, so this first one over here is the caveman that awoke after a millennium. So I'm guessing that's the one on the bottom left over here. So let's go ahead and check it out because they didn't sort the picture by every single one. So anyways, level 8 Earth Beast Warrior effect, attack 2750 and 2500 defense. It says you can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. So the first part is, if this card is in your hand, you get to place it face up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. Second part is, if this card is a continuous spell, you can pay 2,000 life points or reveal a Millennium Cross in your hand to special summon this card. Then you get to add a Millennium monster or one Senjin from your deck to your hand, and it cannot be destroyed by monster effects. Okay. Next up, though, we've got the Golem that guards the Millennium treasure. So I'm guessing it's this one over here, this little Earth with 2022. Yeah, okay, it is. So that's a level 6 Earth Rock effect monster. It says you can only use your first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. So the first part is, if it's in your hand, you can place it face up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. If this card is a continuous spell, you can pay 2,000 life points or reveal a Millennium Cross in your hand and special summon this card. Then you get to add one Temple of the Stone Slabs from your deck to your hand. The activation of your Millennium Cross cannot be negated. Oh, so this is like a whole archetype now. The Millennium. So next up we have Shield of the Millennium Dynasty. So I'm guessing, of course, that's going to be the Millennium Shield. And anyways, it is a level 5 Earth Warrior effect monster with 0 attack and 3,000 defense points. And it says you can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. So the first part is, if this card is in your hand, you get to place it face up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. Second part is, if this card is a continuous spell, you can play 2,000 life points or reveal a Millennium Cross in your hand to special summon this card. Then you get to add a Millennium Cross from your deck to your hand. Okay, and then it cannot be destroyed by spell and trap effects. Okay, so next up we have the Millennium Maiden, which is probably this card in the bottom middle here. It looks like it's got 15 and was it 1,300 defense? Yeah, that's that one. And it says that you can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. So the first part is, if this card is in your hand, you get to place it face up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. Second part is, if your opponent activates a card or effect while this card is a continuous spell, you just special summon this card. And if you do, your opponent cannot target level 5 or higher illusion and spellcaster monsters you control with card effects this turn. Okay. And the third part of the effect, if this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by that battle. Okay. Unfortunately, it's just this turn. If this was continuous, then you could just slap it from your hand and just protect all of your spellcasters, which would actually probably see some play. But since it's one turn, I mean, maybe if that one turn is all you need, then it could be a viable option. Next up, though, we have the Millennium Fiend Reflection, which is maybe what is this one over here? Let's check it out. So this is the illusion effect monster. So maybe this little green guy over here with, is it 1314? Yeah, that's that guy. Says you can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. First part is, if this card's in your hand, you get to place it face up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. Second part says, if your opponent activates a card or effect while this card is a continuous spell, you can special summon this card if you gain life points equal to the attack of one monster on the field. Third part is, if this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by a battle. Okay. Next up, though, we have the Shrine of YuGiOh, which is a field spell over here, which is the one, I think, in the bottom right. So the bottom right one over here says you can only use the first effect of this card's name each once per turn. So the first part says, during your main phase, you get to place one monster from your hand face up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. Then you can take a Millennium monster or one Senjin from your deck face up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. Second part is, if a face-up Millennium monster and or Senjin you control is destroyed by battle or effect, you can place it face up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell instead of sending it to the graveyard. Okay. Good stuff. And then next up we have the Exode Blaze, which is a quick play spell card, which is probably the one on the top right over there. It says it's a quick play that says one level 10 or higher monster you control with Exodia in its original name gains these effects. So you can pay half of your life. You cannot activate other cards or their effects for the rest of this turn. Also destroy as many cards in the spell and trap zone as possible. Then you get to equip 5 Forbidden One monsters from your hand and or deck to this card as equip spells that give it 2,000 attack. Wow. So that means you could just get all the Exodia cards instantly just right on the field. Now, obviously, you have to have them in your hand to get the win condition, but there's got to be some card that bounces things back, man. We got to, I mean, problem is if it equips all 5, you can't just hit up with what it was, a H-Tornado or something like that and just bounce them all back. But I guarantee you someone's going to figure it out, all right? But the problem is that you can't activate a card's effects for the rest of this turn, but you could set up maybe for the following turn or something. And then it says if this card attacks a defense position, you can do piercing. So it's plus 2,000, gets all the Exodia cards, maybe has some potential. Next up, though, we have Raging Hellfire Exode, which is a normal trap card that says you can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. If you control level 10 or higher Exodia monsters, draw all cards your opponent controls. If this card is in the graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, you get a banish to activate one of these effects. You get add a Forbidden 1 monster from your deck to your hand, or shuffle up to 5 Forbidden 1 monsters from your graveyard or banishment into the deck. Wow, that's pretty insane. Let me know, guys, what you think of the brand new Millennium stuff, guys. Is it a W? Is it an L? But that's going to go wrap it up for this one, man. The Millennium stuff is actually looking kind of be kind of fun. But if you guys enjoyed it, drop a like. If you're new here, sub, turn that noti bell on so you don't miss out on more new Yu-Gi-Oh cards because we've got a bunch to cover. Anyways, peace out.